What's up? In this video, I'm going to talk about bodybuilding at age 45 compared to bodybuilding at age 25. What's different and what's the same? Let's get into it. So currently I weigh 189.4 pounds. Filming of this video, and I'll show some clips in here if you're watching it on YouTube. And I am 3 weeks out from my next bodybuilding competition. It's been 7 years since I've competed, and I've never seen my physique in my 40s. So this is the first time I'll be dialed in, ready for a competition at age 45. And it's cool to see the difference of, the generations, the decades, so to speak, when I was 30, and then when I was 20. It's cool to see the transformation as I've gotten older, and the more work that's been done. It's compounding, right? So I'm working out right now 34 years. So it's compounding. Every workout, every time I go to the gym and hit a rep, it is counting toward my gym age, which is adding to just overall muscle development and transformation. So it's been 20 years since I've been on MTV, which is wild. I was 25 then, and I'm doing a little comparison video to show you, what's different and what's the same, and how my body has transformed over the past 20 years, which is wild to even think. But back in the MTV days, back in 2003, I weighed 183 to 185 pounds on stage, but my physique looked completely different. I was a little soft and squishy. I thought I was lean, but I really wasn't. And I was lean for then, but not in comparison to how I look now. Then I thought all I had to do was just work harder and diet longer and sacrifice and just get leaner to have the look that I have now. But that wasn't the case. I'm not saying hard work was a bad thing. I'm saying that it pushed me to work hard, but I'm also realizing now, looking back, that it may or may not have been the work that I put in then, but I didn't have the desired look until now. So it's really just a matter of time, is what I'm saying here. Just giving yourself time and reps, and just be consistent and be patient, and you will attain the look that you desire. Of course, there's steroid use and there's I say drugs, but there's steroid use or anabolic steroids that could speed the process up, but that's not a route that I took. So it took me a little bit longer, but I'm 45 now, and I feel better than I did at 25, and I look much better than I did at 25. So I'm very grateful that I took that route. But first things first, I want to talk about the training then compared to now. So I still do heavy duty style training, and I still do also higher rep training. I vary my training styles per week. So I follow a non-linear progressive overload, meaning every week is a different focus. Sometimes, I'll do 2 weeks of strength or 2 weeks of hypertrophy, but generally speaking, for the past 20 years, I've followed a non-linear periodization type of training, where I would do a strength week and then do a hypertrophy week and then do a third week, which was higher reps, more conditioning. And I still follow that. On my heavy weeks, I still try to push the weights as heavy as I possibly can for 6 to 8 reps. And then I, go by how I feel as far as the rest of my workout goes. Now, I'm not going to do the extra sets that I once did back in the day, because I know that they're not really necessary. And at this point, after 32 years, 34 years of weight training, I'm not going to build that much muscle. I'm going to still keep my strength. I can still transform my body how it looks, but I'm not going to build that much muscle at 45. So I need to adjust my training and not burn myself out, so to speak, with extra wear and tear on the joints and the ligaments, and just more hours in the gym that I don't need to be spending. So I still keep the intensity up with a heavier duty style of training. Mike Mentzer, Dorian Yates, where they do 2 or 3 warm-up sets and then go as heavy as they possibly can for one all-out set, with a series of either drop sets or holds, or whatever they need to do for that last, whatever I need to do for the last 30 to 40 seconds of time under tension during that set, I'll do it. So it's really like 1 or 2 main exercises per lift, and I'll do about 3 to 4 on major lifts or major body parts. I'll do 3 to 4 exercises with 1 to 2 actual working sets with like 2 to 3 warm-up sets. So that's what I still do now, and that's what I've always been doing. So that hasn't really changed. And I still will incorporate those higher rep days because I do like the pump, and I also like having lighter weights and doing a few more reps. It's not a bad thing as long as you're controlling it, and as long as you're, again, not doing every set till failure. I still see a benefit of doing that. Now, what's changed is I don't track my weights anymore like I used to. I used to track my weights meticulously heading into the gym, making sure that I was constantly going heavier and constantly, lifting more weight every time I enter the gym. I don't do that anymore because I realize that some days I'm just not going to be as strong as other days. So I don't want to, have a mental game or a mental wrestling match in my head if I'm not feeling strong that day, or if my weights aren't what they should be according to the plan or according to my journal. I don't want to have a bad workout because of the weight. Remember, your muscles don't know how much weight you're using. Your ego and your mind does. So it doesn't really matter as long as you're causing that time under tension, as long as you're causing that muscle to work, then it doesn't really matter how much weight you're using on any given exercise or any given day. So that's something that's changed majorly, as I don't track my weights. I go by intuition now. I walk into the gym, how am I feeling? If I'm feeling strong, awesome, I'm gonna push the weight. And if I don't feel that strong, or if I have achy, joints and ligaments, if they're angry at me, or if I'm a little bit more fatigued than I typically would be, then I either avoid the exercise completely, or I go way lighter and I adjust my weights accordingly, slow my reps down, but I take more of an intuition or intuitive approach to my training as far as how much weights that I'm using for that particular day. I also do more full body workouts. I love full body. I've always been training full body with my clients because it's most effective as far as calorie burn and time in the gym. Like, it's just efficient to do your whole body, and you can still get great gains as far as strength and as far as transformation aesthetically with full body workouts. And I realized at 45 that my body just needs at least a full body warm up before heading into a body part specific workout. Or I'll just do a whole full body workout. I've grown to love full body workouts, still keeping my strength up, doing more of the old school lifts like a Turkish get up, carries, heavy carries, overhead carries, hangs, and just, non-traditional bodybuilding exercises that keep my strength up. What I've learned at 45 also keeps my physique looking good, keeps my metabolic rate up, and then just overall, it keeps me more engaged in my program. I've done every body part training split I can think of over the past 34 years. So sometimes I get bored, and also, it's good to just, keep the full body as a staple. Another thing that's changed is my mobility and my prep work heading into a workout. I definitely incorporate at least 1, if not 2, mobility exercises before heading into a workout, whereas back in the day, I would do a couple leg extensions, and I would do a couple stretches, and I would do maybe a little hamstring stretch here and there. I would do a little shoulder warm up, and then I would just go right into the workout. And my first set, second set, third set would be part of my warm up, whereas now, I just take a few minutes, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, sometimes more than my actual work period. I'll do more of the mobility, and I'll do more of the warming up, so to speak, take my time and, get warm for the workout. It goes a long way, and it keeps my joints and my muscles just more loose for the workout and for life. And, if you keep doing the same thing for 20, 30 years, if you're in your 40s, you're going to come across some injuries. So if you don't do the mobility work, the injuries are only going to get worse. They're not going to go away. So I've learned my lesson the hard way with that, and that's something that's definitely changed. I also don't hesitate taking a day off or another recovery day. Recovery is super important as I've gotten older at 45, and I want to make sure that I'm fully recovered. I'm going to get more out of my workout if I'm going into it feeling refreshed and charged up. Now, I'm 3 weeks out from a competition. I'm fatigued. I'm in a calorie deficit for the past, 12 to 14 weeks. So recovery is definitely limited. So what I have to do is adjust my my workouts accordingly. And obviously still prioritize rest and sleep, because I mean, that's when you're really growing, that's when you're really making the most gains. So why would you not make sleep and recovery a priority when you're working out? Now, the thought of doing more, like when I was younger, I would just want to do more and more and more and just grind myself, into, supreme fatigue, thinking that I was going to get more results. And again, it pushed me to work hard, and I'm not, regretting that. But looking back, would I have been able to make more gains if I would have given myself more recovery? I don't know. I'm happy with the gains I made, and I'm happy with the work I put in. Just knowing now that I need to be, making sure recovery is more of a priority. Next up, I want to talk about diet and how that's changed and what's also very much the same. So back when I was 20, I was very super strict with my food selections. Chicken, broccoli, protein shakes, potatoes. I was very strict with what foods I would consider dieting foods when I was trying to lose weight for a competition or the beach or a photo shoot, wherever it was. Now, what happens when you super restrict yourself is exactly what used to happen to me. I would binge. I would get really, lean for a competition. I would be super clean with my food. I would be super restricted, and I had a fear of binging. I had a fear of, I was thinking I was making more progress with cleaner foods, when in reality, I didn't need to be that stringent with myself. I could have been a little bit more flexible. And I've learned that, the more I did it, I had my coach, Nick, really help me out with that and get me out of the mindset of having to eat, certain foods for weight loss. I broadened my horizons, and I became more of a flexible dieter, if you will. And that term has become pretty popular nowadays, but my trainer told me that a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. And he said, 80 to 90% of your day should come from whole foods, lean meats, quality vegetables, fruits, grains. And then obviously you could throw some food in there that wasn't typical of, that category of nutrition quality, and like ice cream, or like either in a yogurt, or if I wanted a piece of pizza, factor it in. So I didn't do that back then. So what I would do was I would binge when I wasn't competing, and that was not a good way to bulk. I don't bulk anymore, and that's one thing that has changed. I would, maintain a body fat percentage that, made me look like a bodybuilder for like 3 months out of the year back when I was 20. And the rest of the year, I looked like I had some muscle, but I didn't look like a bodybuilder. I looked like I went to the gym. I looked like I was fit, and I would never be considered fat, from somebody else's perspective maybe, but I just didn't feel right. But I also felt like I was bulking, which is bullshit. I maintain a sub 10% body fat all the time, and I feel very confident taking my shirt off, and I feel very confident with having a lean physique and just feeling good about myself. So, if you're not a bodybuilder watching this, if you're striving to get to a certain body fat, or listening to this, if you're trying to get to a certain body fat percentage and you get to that weight, you get to that look that you want, that's when the work really starts to take place, is to maintain that. And if you don't maintain that, you're always going to be doing this kind of roller coaster dieting. So the maintenance of that is where the work really comes into play. And it's something that I've learned mostly in the past 10 to 15 years, is that I want to look like a bodybuilder all the time. I want to feel good, and I want to have that 10-pound window where I can just, diet down for 12 weeks and look really good for either a competition or a vacation or a photo shoot, or just want to, get in shape and just feel good and, lean up. Then it takes me about 2 to 3 months, and I can get in really good shape if I do it healthy, if I do it steady, and if I just, take my time with it. And when the holidays come around, or if I get a little bit more loose with my diet, or if I'm traveling and my diet isn't perfect and I gain, 6 to 7 pounds, it's not the end of the world. So you'll realize that there's like a 10-pound window, at least I've noticed, and what I help my clients with, there's a 10-pound window that you want to stay in. And that's This is my low and this is my high. And if you can maintain that 10-pound window, I think you're set for life. Now, for me, I like to maintain at least a sub 10% body fat because I like seeing my abs. I like taking my shirt off. I like feeling good. I like seeing the veins. I like feeling athletic. I just like that how that feels better. I like my jeans fitting a little bit more loose. I just like that feel. So I make sure my diet and my training accommodate that. And I still base my food currently around, you know, whole food, nutritious items. You know, obviously I don't restrict myself too much. 80-20, 90-10 even. And if I want that, you know, piece of pizza on the weekend, or if I want a relaxed meal with date night with Karen, we'll have, you know, a meal and I won't track it. But that's something I still do, is I track my food now. And when I did then, when I'm competing, when I'm not competing, is I still track my food. It's still super important to me to make sure that I'm within my range for the day and for the week, so I can maintain my weight and it's predictable, right? I know exactly what I'm gonna weigh, or I know a range what I'm gonna weigh, and it keeps me on track. Some coaches may tell you that you don't need to be as strict and you don't need to track your food all the time, and you could get better with eating intuitively, and I would agree. I wouldn't disagree with that. But what I would say is, if you're anything like me, keeping track of my food is just a simple task that I do, and I could check it off the box. Check the box that I did it, and it also keeps me in line and helps me make sure that I get enough protein in for the day, and it helps me just as a discipline, as a habit. I could make this video a whole series on 45 compared to 25, but that's all I got for you today. And I'm gonna say, believe in yourself, trust the process, and practice patience. And if you found any value, please like and subscribe, and leave me a comment below. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.